Hey guys, how you doing? Welcome to this video about reputation management at Pearl Lemon, what we do, how it works, and just to give you a little bit more insight into what to expect and what to see if you are in the process of thinking about working with the Pearl Lemon PR team to help ultimately knock negative results further down Google, or if you're already working with us and you've received potentially an initial report. So what I want to do is share with you a client that we have been working with. They're a couple of months into work with us, Newswatch TV. They were taken over, American brand that's pretty well established. Newswatch TV. If I just share with you an example of Newswatch, breaking news, tech news, reviews, and more. And the Newswatch team on AMC. So as you can see, it's a well-known and respected brand. And ultimately, they have had challenges that relate, as you can see, in Newswatch TV Fake, Newswatch TV. Let's go and have a look at a couple of the other ones. Newswatch TV Reviews. Let's take a look there. You'll see that there are one there, 4.6, which is good as an improvement. But there definitely is some adverse. A real TV show. They haven't been contacted by Newswatch TV, Reddit. You can see that I've clicked on these links in reference to some of the negative press that they've got on page one of Google. So basically, we've been working with them, and as you can see, this is an email chain with the client. Okay, perfect. Thanks all. Setting up a call to discuss this reporting further, and this is an excerpt from one of the reports that we generated. What we've got here is the Google keyword search terms and some of the negative links that appear for those relevant search terms. So we've got Newswatch TV reviews, Newswatch reviews, Newswatch cost, Newswatch AMC, Newswatch fake, and Newswatch AMC cost. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 7 keyword terms in total, all variations around the seed or central keyword, which is Newswatch TV. And as you can see, this is the day of the ultimately initial time that the journey started, which was the 7th, so the 23rd of July, effectively. We're now moving into ultimately the there or thereabouts the 23rd of October. So that's been 3 months. So in that period, you can see that there are in orange the keywords that have fundamentally moved. So moved represent it moving further down Google on a sometimes on a month-to-month basis, but fundamentally down in almost all cases from the original result, 27 to 39, 11 to 13, 12 to 19, 67 to 85, 2 to 3, and then 4, 3, and then 4. But the direction is strong. And I want to talk to you about how we do it, what we do, and how it works in principle. So one of the, and let me head over to the actual report that we've got here. Okay, so there we go. This is ultimately the above reviews are mentioning improvements we've achieved in the second month. So this is, in fact, across the course of 8 weeks rather than July, August, September. Yeah, it's 7th to the 10th. I think it's 2 to 3 months ultimately. So we're doing a combination of, here we go, image, image, image. Let's have a look. Here we go at the actual report. So Newswatch PR campaign, as well as ultimately the 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 results. So we've got two sections to this, and let's go to the SEO report first of all. So we've got the rank report here, which is taken from the image and the email. And what you'll see is that we're building a series of tactical links across a whole variety of websites as well as types of links with explanations here and here that we're using to fundamentally knock these down further on Google. So that's what you can see here. We've got a various range of Web 2.0 submissions, and this is what it is that we work through to build. Now, the reason that we build these more broadly, it's worth understanding, is to increase Newswatch TVs, and we've also got some media mentions, which is fantastic. So it's a combination of getting us, or getting rather them, onto directories, as well as ultimately getting some PR published, as you can see, across the board. So we've got in the region of probably 15 links here, something to that effect. So 15 plus the links across here, so 40 to 60 links potentially, given it's a couple of month campaign so far. So what this does is a number of things. So, and let's just go through it. So number one, it creates branded network strength. So what we mean by that ultimately is the strength of Newswatch TV as a brand in the eyes of Google. And the way that Google is able to ascertain that to a large degree is ultimately the number of web properties that you own. So what I mean by that is if we go back into here, this is a web property. Let's go to Bark. And Bark's got a high domain authority, and we'll come to that in a minute. But Bark is a website is recognized by Google, is known to Google, and as you can see here, there's a profile that's been set up for Newswatch. So to that end, there's a whole series of sites that Google recognizes that might not be directly relevant to Newswatch as a company, but it is relevant to Google as a company, and Google looks at it from the perspective of it being a web property. So that's how some of these sites do help. As you'll also notice on these sites that they're all AMC owned. So this ultimately URL here is something that you will own and belongs to your branded network. And as you can see, most often there's a relevant link internally. So look, news, as you can see, this is in the TV media buying section. We've also got some information about the company. It provides a ultimately naked or rather, branded mention, which is fantastic. We've got probably some links as we go going towards the different sites, and ultimately that creates, so they're all AMC owned, they're all filled out, descriptions added, and we build an internal branded asset link structure. So think of it like a spider web. We're building links into or from the main spoke, or a hub and spoke strategy, the hub of a car or the hub of a bike, and then you've got the spokes like a wheel, and these all connect together to ultimately underline to Google that this is a brand that's got ultimately following, it's got different sites, and as a consequence of all of these elements, it's able to push down the content that's currently ranking on Google. And that's where a lot of this stuff becomes powerful. And that's why we do this, because it generates results. And there'll be sites that perhaps you don't recognize depending upon where in the world you're based. And there'll be sites that you will recognize depending upon ultimately where in the world that you're based. So Newswatch Quora is a well-known website, and this might be a site you're familiar with. And by creating all of these ultimately profiles, we're able to increase the strength of Newswatch and therefore decrease the ranking of a lot of these ultimately URLs that, if we go back into here, that aren't helpful. And we've got, for example, this one from Quora, and what happens is not that necessarily this one will replace it, but across the course of building this internal linking structure across all of these sites, if we go back to Quora and look at that alongside this and the links that we've got here, it means that the links that Google has preference over all of the websites will begin to rank further up, thereby displacing some of the negative content. And we do that on a consistent basis monthly. And what we'll do, depending upon the nature of your campaign, because in some cases, building this is enough, and we'll take a case-by-case look at what links and what URLs we should put in here, especially, for example, given that Bark has a specific section for that to link back to your various web assets. You on Quora can add the relevant assets here, but the way that it's structured, it isn't insert your number of links here. So we'll focus on one link, and then we'll focus on the keyword terms: trusted source of breaking consumer technology, travel, health, and entertainment news. And more likely than not, it will be reflected here as well. Yep, as you can see, and that creates an element of brand consistency. And this is great because it identifies to Google that, aha, this is the business and this is what the business does. And doing this ultimately on a continual monthly basis helps quite quickly produce results such as this, as you can see in orange, where we've got 7 different keyword terms. So there's quite a lot of work to do. We've got multiple different sites to slowly knock off Google, and the work is underway and ongoing. So that is the process that we'll undergo from a link perspective that becomes really powerful when it comes to ultimately knocking results further down. And to that end, what I'd also potentially encourage you to do is if you Google Web 2.0 links Pearl Lemon, you'll see we've got another long form video about Web 2.0 links that goes into a lot more detailed, or a lot of detailed discussion. And then alongside that, we've also got I believe, a 8,000 word piece of content about those types of links that we do build for you to go through. Give me a second. Yeah, here we go. The official Pearl Lemon link building guide, and this is maybe 8,000 words. So there's definitely other resources if you wish to go even deeper as to how we do it, how it works, and what's involved. Just check the word count here. You'll see. Yeah. So I hope that makes sense and gives you a stronger insight into the strategy on a monthly basis around producing links like these.